This is my family 16 years ago. Happy mom, happy dad, and two happy little boys. That was my life in 2002. It was simple, and it seemed like life was going to be a smooth ride. Nevertheless, the universe had different plans in mind. I don't remember this picture, nor any other picture like it, because when I was 4 years old, like about 45% of married couples, my parents decided to divorce. This happy little family of four was forever changed. Until I was about 17 years old, I was frustrated. I was frustrated that my parents were always fighting. I was frustrated that, as the oldest, I was oftentimes the messenger between two individuals who lost the ability to communicate in a useful fashion. Even though we didn't necessarily understand what was going on, I knew from an early age that experiences my brother Jackson and I went through were different than what most people thought family life should be. While I didn't understand the situation, I knew I certainly didn't like it, but I never would have thought that what I thought at the time was a curse would bring me gifts and blessings that made my life better than I ever could have imagined. McDonald's, Glades, and Powerline Road. This was my checkpoint. For over 10 years, this was the spot my brother Jackson and I would use as the neutral zone to switch houses. Every non-school day at about 3:30 p.m., my brother and I would hop into our mom or dad's car and drive to the restaurant. After a brief hug and an I love you, we were off in the other's car until the next day. This worked for about a decade until we were older. Daily switches brought on too much chaos. Constantly trying to schlep around sports equipment, school supplies, and clothing was simply an impossible task for two tweens. Now, I don't want to paint some crummy image of my childhood. My dad is the Gordon Ramsay of hot chocolate and Eggo waffles. As a little kid, I felt like a king every day with the meals I ate. Happy Meals were the thrill of my childhood. I mean, if every day is going to consist of a McDonald's visit, you might as well make the most of it, right? My mother used to take my brother and me on little picnics in a park near our old house. My parents had their own problems with one another, but they never failed to give my brother and me all the love in the world. So our childhood did not seem hard or bad. It was just different. Yet, as I got older, I constantly saw the situation as a curse and resented the thought of having to deal with it and how my life was arranged. One day, I was experiencing an especially tough time between my mom and dad. I remember resenting my parents for ever falling in love in the first place, for being naive enough to think a marriage between them was even possible. I thought about how this divorce had a drastic effect on my young mind, and I thought about all the arguments and conversations I had that I knew my peers would never have to have. Suddenly, without thinking, I looked at my phone to check the time, and I saw my lock screen. It was a selfie that I'd taken a few months before my baby sister Emily and me. The image provoked a thought in me harder than any of the others. As crazy as it sounds, I realized that as tough as my parents' divorce could be, it was without a doubt the greatest thing that has ever happened to me. After years of thinking about my situation in such a negative light, suddenly I was able to completely alter my perspective of the situation. I thought about my family, and I realized the support system that I have around me and how blessed I truly am. My mother found love a few years ago, and I have a stepfather and 5 step-siblings that I love as if I've known them my entire life. My father did the same, and in 2016, my baby sister Emily was born. I lived my entire life thinking it would always be my brother and me, never thinking I would ever have another sibling. But Emily was born, and that changed my perspective. I never thought that there would ever be a person that could possibly have the same connection my brother and I have. Yet Emily changed that. She taught me that life can change at any moment, and you have no idea what blessings await you. I can't imagine my life if my parents never divorced. I never would know the people I now hold closest to my heart, and my parents never would have met the person they were meant to be with. I finally realized that this trauma that I viewed as a curse was actually a blessing in disguise. Life can be abrupt and unexpected. Almost everything we perceive around us is out of our control. In a world where much of what happens is out of our control, we must control how we react and reflect on these events. These experiences can teach us lessons that we draw on for the rest of our lives. By looking past the negative qualities of my parents' divorce, I was able to realize how profoundly lucky I am. By overlooking the negative aspects of a situation and allowing oneself to find the good in them, you'll find that there's no problem too great to overcome and no personal struggle you can't conquer and grow from. I know that there are certain things going on in your lives right now. They're unfortunate no matter what way you cut it. But I hope that with time, you can reflect back on those events and find some sort of blessing or lesson hidden underneath. Life is unexpected. The family that I have today is 5 times the size of the one I had when I was young. And my family has brought me so much joy for which I'll be forever thankful. So I want to leave all of you here today with the thought that as bad as any situation may seem, there often is much good associated with it. Whether it makes you stronger as an individual or grants you unexpected gifts, you must endure whatever life throws at you and try to find the blessing in it.